Hey, this is Sergio Dominguez with an audio commentary for Juan Perez, the animated short. So this all started all the way back in maybe late 2008, early 2009. There was a certain animated show that had a character that was getting its own spin-off. And me at the time thought, hey, maybe my character from my show should have his spin-off too. And at the time, the show was only like a year and a half old, but immediately I was giving one character a spin-off, which is a good friend of mine named Juan Perez. I met him back in middle school. We became great friends, and when I decided to work on this show, my own animated show, I immediately asked him if he wanted to be executive producer, and he kindly signed on by just saying yes. But, I've told him about this and he wanted to do the short. I think I asked him. He was also like, yeah, that sounds like fun. But this short, I remember this went through development hell for a certain amount of time. This was going to come out in 2009, but it ended up coming out in 2010. It was because of, I think, story reasons. Because I was writing this and storyboarding this, but I never finished it. Because the idea was that his nephews were going to come over, but I didn't know how the rest of the episode was going to be. Not only that, but I didn't get any of his recordings, but then again, the story wasn't finished. So at one point in 2009 or so, I was in Florida, he was in New Jersey, and he decided to visit for vacation, and I was like, oh cool, when he visits we can finish the story and he'll do the recordings with me. But at that point, we had so much time just hanging out that we only did was finish the story. And it was funny too because I just set up the first minute or two or three, and then he just came up with the rest. That's why everything just went crazy all over the place with the story once the nephews and nieces came in. It got really crazy and meta, but I had so much fun. I was like, I went with the story that my friend Juan decided to make. And it was still a fun cartoon to make. Originally, it was actually going to be a series. I was going to make more episodes, but I never thought of any more. But it was ultimately because at the time, I was still working on the show, the Sergio show, and it was still in its early years. That hand-drawn animation effect, I drew that in Photoshop and brought it into the software Toon Boom. But so I was still working on the show, and I was still struggling with the show that I decided I'll just do one episode, a short, and then get back to the show that I needed to focus on because I had so much to learn and so much to work on with the show and my animation experience. Because me dealing with two animated internet shows it is too much even back then and even now. So the short was just fun to make. The video you're seeing is actually a re-edited edition of it because there were some images that weren't mine and I wanted to keep it original. So there is some changes within the images, just the images. Backgrounds and certain props I had to draw and put back in because I still had the original cartoon and animation file. So I just had to go back and switch out some images and re-export it and redo it a little bit, but no reanimation whatsoever. Just a little bit of editing or putting in some images, but this cartoon was still fun to make. This was an interesting cartoon to make, but I remember this was since this was a lot more collaborative than my other shorts because this was with my friend Juan. I would send him images of what his nephews and nieces were going to look like, and he would send me recordings from across the country. So it was something like that. He did give me notes on designs of his family members. The thing that I didn't do a good job on was probably the directing, because the last line he makes is well performed, but not the right emotion that I was going for. But instead of me telling him just change the performance and send me the recording, I was like, no, I'll take the performance and the recording as is, and I'll just put it in. It's been too long. At the time, it was too long for something that was supposed to be just a fun little cartoon. So I was like, okay, let me just get this cartoon over with. But still well done for the time. I try to add little hand-drawn animation effects like Juan's reaction when he got hurt. But yeah, most of the story written here is him. I just set up the first minute or two and he just set up the rest. I think I wrote just dialogue while he just like set up the story. But it was one of the more collaborative of the cartoons I've ever made so far. And I had to like redesign me, but damaged. It looks nice. Later on, this like Sergio model would not come back. It would be redesigned for 2011 and onward. But originally, this was going to be another series. Oh, I had to also redraw myself like that perspective, that angle, and walk away. But yeah. This was like my second or third year doing cartoons, animated cartoons. Still a lot to learn, but it does seem like this was going to be the beginnings of me understanding it. But I still wasn't ready to do a lot of ambitious projects yet.
Please comment and rate while watching this video.
Comment and rate. But yeah, that was Juan Perez. It was a great short. I wish it was a spin-off series, but I like the character for being, a character on the Sergio show occasionally. But, thank you very much to Juan and his relatives for voice recording this. Thank you very much for watching and listening to this commentary. I am Sergio Dominguez saying, have an animated day. Thank you.